All right, so good evening, everyone, those in class and online. Those who are online, revision class is going to be about revising through doing questions. Yeah, and we're supposed to debrief all the tests and the mock exam. Yeah, so that will happen in the first 3, hopefully, or 4 sessions. We have a total of 8 sessions. Yeah, so a lot of questions will be done. Yeah, so you got to really follow carefully, ask questions, don't hesitate. Yeah, I'm here for that. Don't feel shy. Yeah? No one will judge you. You don't worry. Yeah, just ask the questions. I mean, at the same time, do realize that we still need to move on and do more questions. Yeah, so at the same time, do your best to understand, and it will be recorded and we will put it up here so you can always access it. Yeah, for those who are online, this is your set of questions we'll be working through. Okay, it incorporates, so please download this set of questions, those who are online. All right, those who are here physically, I have made some copies and given to them, so class should move on smoothly this way. So when you download, this is the same thing I've printed for you who are here. This is what you will see. And for those who have done test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, these are the 4 tests here. Yeah, and the mock is also here. So we are going to use the revision classes to debrief these tests and the mock. But once we finish this, there's a lot more questions as well to do. But what I will also emphasize is, after we have completed these set of questions here, is to focus a bit more on section C, the 20 marks question, because they are very good questions to score, and you're able to do section C, you should be able to pass quite easily. Yeah, so we will do a good training, a lot of quite a number of section C questions, all past year, recent, and all the ones, so that you have maximum exposure. Yeah, so we have a lot of work ahead of us. Again, as usual, try not to miss classes. Yeah, so we have Tuesday this week, 3 classes during the week, one after another. And then from Saturday, we have 5 consecutive classes: Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, so 8 sessions. Yeah, until last June, we were doing 7 sessions. So I've asked the boys there to increase it to 8 sessions, because we have then more time to guide you. Yeah, so if you're able to come through this and then keep up the practice after 19th November all the way until the day of the exam, there is no reason why you cannot pass. Yeah, okay, right, so let's get started on these questions. So there we are. Let me move this a bit out of the way. Okay, let's put it in the corner here. This, I think this camera has frozen already. Yeah. So, right, for those who are seeing the questions now, for those who have worked through it before, please do it again. Yeah, I will see if I can do anything about the camera again. Yeah, please start working on this. Let me just see whether I can find Godfrey to see whether he can do anything about this. Yeah, so I think it's because you can't have a default. But you can download as well. Yeah, there's a soft copy on the LMS. Right, so for those who are online, if you see me looking at you at a standstill, that's because the camera has frozen. They will look at it soon. The questions we want to work through. Okay, these were in the test number 1. You may have the answers already when you did the test number 1. But today we will explain and go through one more time. Yeah, but majority of you who attended normal class did not do the test. So it's a good thing to do now. You changing it again? Okay. Let me remove that. Maybe so. Okay, that should be a good one. Seems to be okay. Thank you, Benson. Hopefully it will not freeze. Yes, please take one. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I think it will be okay now. All right, so those who are online, you can see my beard properly now. Yeah. Okay, question number 1. Which of the following statements regarding technologies and systems are correct? Remember, test number 1 covered syllabus section A and B. Yeah, and syllabus section A is about IT and information systems and big data. Networked computers, we're looking for the correct answers. Networked computers can save costs by sharing hardware, software, and data. Do you agree? Yes, we are using a network computer now, isn't it? Yeah, our LMS is where all of us who are in this class and registered can go to the LMS and we share data there. Like this set of questions is there, the recording will be there. So yes, yeah. Although our network will be mostly on the internet, so yes. An intranet provides quick, effective communication with suppliers. No, because suppliers are external and intranet is internal. Agree? So 2 will not work. Wireless networks allow businesses to expand with less disruption than wired networks. Yes, of course, because wireless means you don't have to go and find wires to connect everything, and that makes it easier to link all devices, etc. Yeah, nowadays wireless devices make life much easier to transfer data, etc. Yeah, the internet can be used to monitor and measure customer interest. Is that correct? Yes, if you have a website, you can see how many people are coming to your website, how many hits, and so how long they stay on your website. Yeah, what they go and see, everything you can see. So you will know what is interesting to customers. Yeah, so that is also correct. So the answer is C. Question 2, a company's board of directors were recently embarrassed when a very unhappy junior human resources employee emailed details of their salaries to the entire company. An investor, we have a breach of confidentiality here. An investigation revealed that the human resources director had lent his username and password to the junior employee. So the highest level person of the human resources department lent his username and password to the junior employee to conduct routine maintenance of the human resources database while the director was on vacation. This is a breach, yeah? During the director's vacation, the junior employee had used the director's username and password to access the board's salary records. He was not supposed to access this. He was supposed to just do some routine maintenance. Yeah, unfortunately, that has happened. How would you have prevented? Which of the following controls could have helped to prevent this breach of confidential information. Monitoring the database system logs on a daily basis to see what information is being accessed. Yes. Okay, sounding good. Building levels of access into the database so that only senior staff have access to board records. This is already there because these records can only be accessed by the director. So that was already there. The password of the director only allowed the director to access those records. But because the director gave the password, so those records were accessed by someone else. Yeah. So in this case, B did not work. B is already in place, but B did not work. Yeah, because the director gave the password to someone else. Keeping all the human resource records for salaries on a separate server. It doesn't matter. You keep it on a separate server. That separate server will also be linked to the system. So once you have access to the in-house server, even if you put it on a separate server, they will also be linked. So you will still obtain access. And in this case, the password will still give you access. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it won't prevent. We're looking for something to prevent this breach. So C will not prevent. Having a policy of regularly updating the passwords. In this case, yes. If we had done this, it should have worked. But if you update your password and then you give the password to someone else, it still doesn't work. You understand what has happened here? Yeah. So the biggest problem is that the password has been given. So A is not going to be very effective, but that will be the only way. Monitoring the database system logs on a daily basis to see what information is being accessed. It's not going to be sufficient because the people who are monitoring this, maybe the IT people, they also should know that the HR director is on leave. If they don't know the HR director is on leave, they will think HR director is the one who is accessing. You see? But that's the only one. Yeah. Once there is a breach where the director has given the password, the only way is monitoring the database system logs, because the logs will show that someone is accessing using the HR director's password when the HR director is on vacation. So it will immediately raise a red flag, and IT guys can come in and say, hey, this is not supposed to happen. They can intervene. They can immediately block the access. Yeah, they can block the access in a minute. In a minute. You don't worry about that. They can do that immediately. So the answer is A. The chief executive of Trust and Stores. Yeah, I will also write it here for you. Huh? So C and then A. So this is C. And then it's A. Yeah. The next one is the chief executive of Trust and Stores, a retail group, needs to make major strategic decisions about the future of the group, including how many stores to keep open and ways to expand its online presence. He wishes to make maximum use of big data when considering future strategies. Trust and Stores has employed data analysts to analyze the retail environment and wider social and economic trends. The chief executive wants the analysts to supply him with details of how trends in shopper preferences appear to have affected the volume of customers in stores over time. Which level of the big data pyramid corresponds to the details required by the chief executive? Remember this one, DIWK. Data, information, wisdom, knowledge. Yeah? Do you remember this? When at its basic level, it's data. You don't know this. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to go back to what you have learned. And this is, say again? You think the answer, okay. You think the answer is, what did you say? D. Anyone else? D also? No one wants A, B, C? No? Yeah. Okay, D is correct. What happens is when you just have the data, you just collect the data, it is still in a form that is raw, we call it. So it's data, okay? Once you process it, it becomes information. Then from the information, we understand what is happening. That becomes wisdom. And then if we want to make decision, yeah, we use the information, the knowledge to make decision, including the wisdom. In this case, he says the chief executive wants the analyst to supply him with details of how trends in shopper preferences appear to have affected the volume of customers in stores over time. So if you go through the question, what they want to do is they want to make major strategic decisions, okay, about the future of the group. For example, how many stores to keep open and ways to expand its online presence. So they want to make decisions. He wishes to make maximum use of big data when considering future strategies. Truston Stores has employed data analysts to analyze the retail environment. Okay, so this analysis will collect the data and wider social and economic trends. Yeah, so when we process this data into trends, that will become information. The chief executive wants the analyst to supply him with data of how the trends in shopper preferences appear to have affected the volume of customers. Yeah, so this will then contribute to become knowledge and then wisdom by which we can make decisions. But now what he says is, I want to see the trends, how the trends appear to have affected. The major strategic decision will become wisdom. They want the trend. The trend, how they affect the volume, the trend is knowledge. The trend is knowledge. Are we okay? Yeah. So D, the trend is knowledge. FX is a multinational electronic commerce, e-commerce company that offers a range of products to customers. Now, I don't know for which one this was. No, it is knowledge. So the wisdom is a strategic decision. Once we start making the decision, that will be the wisdom. Okay. Since the question did not ask, yes, they did start. They say they need to make strategic decision. But the question says the CEO wants the analyst to supply him with details of how the trends affect the volume of customers. So once he understands the trends, then he will use that trends to make strategic decisions, including how many stores to keep open and ways to expand its online presence. It's something that's happening here also to us in this company here, where we are providing you both with online classes and physical classes. Yeah. So there is this thing that we are every few months, every 6 months, we're having to make a decision. Do we go fully online with our classes? Do we do some physically and online? It's a decision that many companies have to make nowadays, and this is also facing us. Yeah. So far we are collecting the trends and seeing how you students are able to cope with it. Whether you attend more online, whether you hate it, whether you come more physically, all of that we are trying to understand. So at this stage, we're trying to understand. We're trying to know what our customers want to do. You understand? So at that stage, the trends is the one that will give us the knowledge, and based on that knowledge, then we will make decisions. The decisions will be when we have the wisdom. Is that okay? So it's knowledge. Move on to the next one. So FX is a multinational electronic commerce company that offers a range of products all over the world via the internet. The board of directors considering investing in wireless technology that can be used for real-time tracking of goods that arrive in the depot from suppliers and are then dispatched out to customers from the depot. Which of the following wireless technology is most appropriate for tracking? You are going to be in electronic commerce. E-commerce meaning you're selling products. If you're selling products, a mobile phone network will not help you to track, because mobile phone network can help you to sell goods, can help you to communicate, but not necessarily track the product. Yeah, you can use a mobile phone network to access the tracking software, but it will not be able to access if there is no device. There must be a tracking device, and the tracking device, yeah, is RFID. Yeah, when you go shopping, yeah, you will find that when you buy a shirt, you buy a dress in any of those shops, you will find that what they do, they have an RFID there, and then when you buy, they will either disable it before you take the shirt out of the shop or the dress out of the shop, or they remove it. Yeah, that's what they do. If they fail to do it, when you pass the exit, those alarm bells will ring, and you find the security guard running after you. Yeah, it happened to me once. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did. So I was with my wife, and she had bought a few things in one shop. And then we were leaving that shop, nothing happened. We paid for it, don't worry. Yeah, so we paid for it. We were leaving that shop, nothing happened. The shop where we bought the goods, nothing happened. And then she moves extremely fast when she's in a shopping complex. My wife, I can tell you, yeah, if I have an RFID on her, it will be better. I can follow her. But sometimes I'm looking here and then she's gone. Yeah, so she's gone into another shop, and then I realized she went in. So when I moved going into the shop, another shop, and then everything went whoa, 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 whoa. So the security guard ran to me. I look at him. I mean, he's doing his job. And then he looked in the back. He says, "This is not good from here." I say, "Yeah, that's why I'm looking at you also." Yeah. And he wanted to see the receipt. So I showed him the receipt. Yeah. Of course, my wife was nowhere to be seen. Yeah. She had gone into the shop, attracted by whatever there was in that shop. I was left fending for myself with her things. Luckily, she had left the receipt inside the bag. Otherwise, I would be at the police station and she would be shopping. Yeah. So they look in the bag and say, "Well, you have a receipt?" I say, "Of course I have a receipt. First of all, it's not your shop, the goods. So what are you investigating?" So I can report. I said, "What do you want to report? Where is the receipt?" You know, what the man said to me to do, he said, "Go back there and then get them to disable it." And I said, "Okay." I did not go. Yeah, but I could not be in his shop then. Yeah, so I waited outside. Yeah. So this RFID is now very cheap, you know. Yeah. In other countries where we are nowadays, when we are passing through parking, you know, when we have this season parking in the building where you work, when we go on toll highways, we just have this, it's a small thing like this, like a sticker, you know, it's just like a sticker now. Yeah, they put it on your car, and then you just pass and it opens. The barrier just opens. Yeah, of course you're paying. While the barrier is opening, you're paying as well. Yeah, so it's very good, this thing. It's very, very cheap now. Yeah, these stickers, extremely cheap. They cost, some of these stickers can cost as cheap as 1 or 2 US dollar cents, 0.02 cents. Yeah, so it's gone very cheap. So it can be used by everybody. Yeah, so RFID is very good for tracking purposes. Which two of the following, question number 5, are least likely? You have to be careful with this kind of question because they're asking you least likely to represent the benefits of applying big data analytics. For example, predictive analytics, text analytics, statistical analytics, voice analytics, and data mining. Predictive analytics is a bit like what we do in our section D of the syllabus, where we do this forecasting. That is predictive. Text analytics is where basically they look at the email you have written, the messages you have done, and try to obtain an understanding of what you're looking for. Statistical, obviously, is we first collect the data. Voice analytics is obviously we look at voices and we see what words you're speaking. And then from there we analyze, and then we do data mining. So least likely to represent benefits. So we're looking for benefits. So Let's see. If it's a benefit, we eliminate. Is that okay? If it's not looking like a benefit, it could be the answer. Okay, make sure you understand the questions. I know we have in the exam, there is a time pressure, but when you see this, you need to read carefully. Because when they do, this is what we call negative questions. We're not asking you for the benefit, but what is not really a benefit. So you can easily get confused if you're trying to go a bit too fast. Yeah, okay. So first of all, discover, right? Discover sensitive consumer information such as personal income, residential address, and other personal data. Is that a benefit that we are looking for? Not so sure. Okay, let's move on. Number 2, identify patterns of demand for a promotional product in the department store throughout a year. Yes, you think that is a benefit? That's sounding like a benefit, isn't it? Because how you do is you see, first of all, maybe whether people are buying, whether people are writing about it. Yeah, and if they're buying, we'll do statistics, whether they talk about it. Yeah, so patterns of demand is something which we really want to know, because if we see demand is good, we can produce more, or we can do more models in that particular line. So that seems to be a benefit. Number 1, we are not very sure. We'll come back to number 1. Detect correlations between the number of outpatients and the number of newborn babies in a hospital in a month. What do you think about that? Is there any benefit in this? What's the relationship with outpatient between outpatient? Is there a relationship between number of outpatients and number of newborn babies? No, because among the outpatients, there'll be men as well, isn't it? And men don't give birth to babies. No, they don't, yeah? Okay, yeah, it's confirmed. And that's a disadvantage of having a man, yeah? Well, women are more useful because they give birth, yeah? Without women, we won't exist. Yeah, don't forget that. Yeah, well, what's the relationship between patients, outpatient? What are you trying? There's no relation here. Even if there's a relation, what are you going to do with it? Yeah, so it's not going to benefit anybody. Yeah, so okay, this one we can eliminate. Detect correlation between the number of outpatients in the hospital and the number of heat warning days in a month. Maybe that's potential. Heat warning days, so people who get heat stroke. Yeah, in summer in Europe, people get heat stroke. Yeah, if they come to Uganda, they will also get heat stroke here. Yeah, some of them. Yeah, they're not like me. I can go walking around a lot today, but today was nice. Yeah, today the sun did not come out. Yeah, detect correlations. The worst place are in France when it is very hot. It's really bad. You know. Yeah, people really suffer. Yeah. One potential reason is nowadays that's why they encourage people to drink more water. Yeah, in France, people don't like to drink water. Yeah, they just prefer with every meal to drink wine. So you need to drink water as well. Yeah, yeah, they love you. Yeah, everything. Yeah, blanc, white with white meat, red with red meat. You have to know all of this. Yeah. Blanc means white grape. Red use red grape. Yeah, you don't the mixture wrong. Detect correlation with the number of outpatients. Okay, that one we can use. So we can see when there will be heat warning by the weather department, then we have to be prepared that more people may be affected by heat strokes. Yeah, so that will be making us prepared. So there's a benefit there. Okay, so between 1 and 2 now, 2 is sounding like a benefit. So number 1 now, discover sensitive consumer information such as personal income, residential address, and other personal data. Why do you think we should not take this one? It is personal information. So you are not supposed to use it without consent. So the answer for this why it's not beneficial, you could be sued for using people's information without their consent. So this is more of an ethical answer to say that we are not going to be able, of course we can collect this information, yeah. You can, and in certain countries where the laws are weak, they do collect this information. Yeah, but in other countries where the law is a bit stronger, if you do this, you can be in trouble. Yeah, and you can see many countries are catching up now with new laws relating to this. Yeah, but you have to answer this also from the perspective of ethics. Ethically, you should not be doing this. Therefore, we cannot consider this as a benefit. Yeah, it's an illegal benefit, sort of an unethical benefit. Yeah, so we cannot take this because we're doing ACCA. So your answer will be 2 and 4. Your answer will be 2 and 4. Yeah, 2 and 4. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Which is least likely. Sorry, this is where I also get stuck with this. Yeah. So 2 and 4 are the benefits. So we're looking for those which are not. So 1 and 3. Yeah, 1 and 3. Yes, like you reminded me. Yeah. This is why I was telling you, you get carried away with it. Yeah, I'm guilty of it. I'm sorry, I'm guilty of it. So 1 and 3. Yeah, 2 and 4 are the benefits. 1 and 3 are the least likely benefits. Right, so then we go to question number. So this was question number 5. Okay, hang on, let me not get this wrong. Question 4 we said is C. So this is question 5. This is C. Okay, and then question number 6. Yes, okay, right. So question number 6. The accountant of UN Company, a large rare soil refinery, has provided the following list of estimated total cost for one of its new plants, which will be operational in the near future. Yeah, these are the organizations that produce what we call rare earth mineral, which is now the big discussion between China and the US now. It's very strategic. Hardware, what are the estimated contingent costs to be incurred for the operation of the new plant? This is about life cycle costing. In life cycle costing, contingent costs are the ones that occur when? Before we start manufacturing, during manufacturing, or after we stop. After we stop. Because they are contingent, dependent on us stopping production. You okay with that? Okay, so the word contingent here is contingent on us, on the company, stopping the operations. Okay, so you're looking for costs that will be incurred at the end of the life of this refinery, this rare soil refinery. So hardware and software costs for implementing an environmental reporting system that will be incurred at the beginning. Yeah, so this will be before we start refining. Yeah. Total material cost. So before manufacturing and sale, MNS means manufacturing and sale. Total material cost, total labor cost will be during. Yeah, during manufacturing and sale. Then estimated cost of cleaning and neutralizing the toxic waste before disposal. Yeah, that will be contingent. That will be after manufacturing and sale. So that's contingent. Production overheads is during again. So that is going to happen all the time. It's not contingent upon us stopping. Potential opportunity costs resulting from boycotts by green activists against all environmental sensitive industries. Again, that is basically contingent upon us maybe breaching certain laws or us being found to not have to be polluting the environment. Do we know it will happen? We don't know. You see, it's a potential means it may not happen. Secondly, it is an opportunity cost. It is a contribution that we will lose. So in fact, this figure is an estimate. We never know. This figure is an estimate. We never know the exact figure. We'll only know the exact figure later. Yeah, so contingent, another concept of contingent, you do not know the exact figure. You do not know how much it will be because it is in the future. It is dependent or contingent upon an event happening. So this is also contingent. So there are two contingent costs, which will be 1.2 and 940. So 1.2 and 940 will come to how much? 2.14. So your answer you have to type here in the exam 2140000. That's how you type it. Okay. Sometimes the examiner say, if the examiner say, give the answer in thousands of dollars. Then in the box, you only type 2140. Is that okay? Yeah. If you say dollars, you have to put all the zero at the end. So question 6, 2140. There we go. Question number 7. The chief executive wants to be briefed on the advantages of using life cycle costing. Which of the following statements relate to the advantages of life cycle costing are correct? Yeah, so as you see in the answer, there are at least 2 advantages. So there's more than one. The first one says it draws management's attention to all costs related to a product which other costing methods usually treat as period costs. What do you think? Yeah, because a period cost is traditional costing. You incur in 2025, you account for it in 2025. It is not accumulated over the life cycle. But in life cycle costing, if it belongs to product X, 25 we will put it in, 26 also will add, 27 also will add. Only life cycle costing will do that. No other costing technique will do that. Yeah, so that is the difference. The main big advantage of it is that it will do that. It will draw management attentions, yeah, to all costs related to a product, which other costing methods such as absorption costing, activity-based costing usually treat as period. Period here means annual, refer to 1 year. So that's, yes, that's an advantage, which if you're eliminating, remember the concept of elimination, which means we can eliminate A. And then we can't do anything because 2 also we have to read. Okay, number 2, it focuses on measuring a product's costs from concept to withdrawal rather than reviewing costs on a period by period basis. Yes, no? From concept means from design. Yes, to withdrawal until we stop selling. Only life cycle costing does that. It's very similar to number 1. Again, it's not period by period. The whole concept is if the life is 5 years, we consider all the costs over 5 years. So we will add all of it, not on a yearly basis. So again, yes, this is an advantage. So we know the true profit over the whole life of the product. So if 2 is correct, then C is now eliminated. Yeah, but this question, the examiner is getting smarter. So number 4 remains. We don't need to read number 4 now, isn't it? In the exam, because we are left with only 2 answers now. One answer is 1, 2, and 4. The other answer is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So see, 4 is in B, and 4 is in D. So it has to be correct. Yeah. So it has to be B. No, but 3 can be correct as well. Let's read number 3. Yeah. We don't need to read number 4. At least that saves time in the exam. But 3 we have to read, just to be sure. Number 3, it focuses on what consumers are prepared to pay for a product and establishes cost budgets based on an expected selling price. What do you think about that? No, I don't say it's a disadvantage, but it's not an advantage of life cycle costing. It's more an advantage of, yes, well done. Yes. So this is a benefit, an advantage of target costing. An advantage of target costing. Yeah, but not an advantage, not a benefit of life cycle costing. So you are right. Yeah, answer is B. Yeah. And so 3 is wrong. Number 4 says it aids understanding of the relationship between decisions at the design stage and the cost of other functions such as marketing. You remember this one? We had a diagram where we say what you decide at the design stage will commit you to up to 70% of future cost. You remember that? Yeah, that applies to both life cycle and target costing. Yeah, so number 4 is also a benefit. So the answer is B. Yes, benefit. Yes, correct. Yeah. Wrong. And then B. Okay. Yes, B. Correct. The answer is B. Hera company is developing a new product using a target costing approach. Market research indicates that to achieve a sales volume of 200,000 units, the selling price should be $23.50. Hera company wishes to obtain an average profit margin of 20% on sales. Following data has been estimated for the product: material cost per unit, hourly volume 20 units, labor cost $64 per hour, variable overhead is $82 per hour, and it is absorbed on direct labor hour basis. Fixed cost to produce 200,000 units are estimated to be 680,000. What reduction in the cost per unit is required to achieve the target cost per unit? Indirectly, the question is asking me to calculate the target cost gap, isn't it? The gap, because what reduction is required to achieve the target cost? The reduction will be the gap. So indirectly, this question is calculate target cost gap. Target cost gap. So we need to do 2 things. One is to calculate the target cost from information in the first paragraph, and using the information that remains, we will calculate the estimated future cost. Estimated future cost. Then we compare these two. This will give us the cost gap. So selling price, dollar per unit, 23.50. They said in the first paragraph, to achieve a volume of sales, selling price should be 23.50. Okay. So then they say we do the profit margin. So you have to remove the profit margin. The profit is a margin. Margin in how much? 20%. When we are using margin is 20%. What will be the value of the selling price? 100%, correct. Margin means a margin from the selling price. Markup on cost. Don't forget. Yeah, because if you forget this, you will make mistake and you won't get the right answer. Yeah. So if Margin in is 20%. Selling price will be 100%. So the cost will be 80%. Yeah. Don't forget, revision again. If it's markup, it's markup 20%. You always mark up on what? On cost. Then you put cost 100%. Then your value of your selling price is 120%. Yeah. So you markup, you always start from cost. Cost plus profit markup 20 become 120. Margin inside the selling price, you start from the selling price. The one where you start, you put 100%. If cost is where you start, the cost is 100%. If selling price is where you start, selling price is 100%. Okay. So if selling price is 100%, 23.5 is 100%. You don't need to calculate the profit. You just calculate directly. You just directly get the target cost. And the target cost will simply be 80% multiplied by 2350. Yeah, which will give us 2350 multiplied by 80%. So your target cost is $18.80. So now let's find out what's the future estimated cost. Future estimated cost. Let's see what we are getting. Okay, some of the costs are easy. Okay, like direct material. So let's use this dollar per unit again. Direct material is per unit, $10.45. Yep. And then we have direct labor. Since direct labor and variable overheads are both based on labor hours, you could, in exam, this is objective. You don't need to show your workings. So do it together, meaning direct labor and variable overhead together. Do together. So what they said to us, let me show you the question. They said to us, hourly, now this is an important one. $64 is for 1 hour, $82 is for 1 hour. Now we need per unit. That's where we need this one. In 1 hour, hourly production, we produce 20 units. So 1 hour, I'll pay labor, $64. 1 hour, I'll pay variable overheads, $82. So the cost per hour is 64 plus 82. Agree? And in 1 hour, I can make how many units? 20. And I need the cost per unit. So I take 64 plus 82 divided by 20. Are you following? Yeah. 64 labor cost plus 82 is the variable overhead for 1 hour. And in 1 hour, I can make 20 units. So it will be 64 plus 82 divided by 20. 7.3. It's not over yet because we have fixed overhead. We have fixed overhead. Yeah, this is a similar to a life cycle costing question. This is not a relevant cost question. So you have to add all your costs. The last line of the question told us fixed cost to produce 200,000 units or estimated to be $680,000. So fixed cost per unit will be $680,000 divided by 200,000 units. Okay, which will be equal plus 680 divided by 200. So it will be 340. Yeah, don't forget that this with as minimal writing. You should do minimal writing. and work as much as possible on your calculator. I am writing because to give you a record for you to refer to later. Yeah, but in exam, please minimize your writing. Yeah, because on the paper that we will give you, this paper will not go to the examiner. So no one is going to look at your workings. So the minimal writing you do, the better for you, you save time. Okay, so this is the estimated future cost per unit. So you can see the future cost is more than the target cost. So when we learn target costing, what did we learn? If there is a gap, you cannot proceed. You have to close the gap first. Yeah. So the target cost gap is what you have to reduce. Cost gap is, we have a gap of 1880 is what we need. We want it to cost, but it's going to cost 21.15. So we got a gap of $2.35, which we need to close. And that's why the question I said, what you need to reduce is the gap. So $2.35, the answer is D. $2.35, the answer is D. Yes. Yeah. So this is basically dollar. So as usual, you have to take the target cost, 1880 is what we want it to cost, minus what it is going to cost, which is 21.15. All right. So that will give you, as you can see here, 1880 minus 21.15. That gives you the figure of $2.35. And we do have an answer here, which is D. What did you get? Where? Okay, let's go through it. Which one? The 1880 minus 21.15. Did you get this one? You got 1045, of course, is given. 730? You got. Oh, you go. Why did we calculate the? Why didn't we calculate the profit margin? No, because we don't have. Okay, yeah. No, you can obviously, but it will delay you because what we need is the cost. You understand? Yeah, because the difference. Remember, since the question say is a reduction in cost. So we are looking for the cost because the profit is an estimate. You understand? The profit is what we want to get. So you can calculate, but because this is a, if this was section C, but this doesn't come in section C, yeah? This topic doesn't come in section C of the exam. So it won't come as a 20 marks question. So it's only appear in section A and B of the exam, where they don't need to see our workings. You understand? Because they don't need to see our workings, I'm showing you the shortcut. Better move straight, go to the cost, because that's what you need to compare with the 21.50. You see, if I put the profit here, still I'll get the cost, 18.8. Yeah, no, you can, yeah, if you calculate profit, then you can use balancing figure. But in my case, I did not even use balancing figure. I just took 23.5 times 80%. So totally, like you said, totally, I did not calculate the profit. Totally, I did not. You're welcome. Let me see what's going on in this low chair. Okay. Who sat on that? That's low like that. Right, so in the corner here. We're moving to question number 9. If you don't have anything else to ask me. No, How come direct labor cost was absorbed? No, direct labor cost was not absorbed. So it's a variable overhead. It was a variable overhead. See, let me show you. See, it says the following data is for the product. Direct labor cost is $60 per hour. Per hour means per hour of labor. So it's a direct cost. Yeah, it's written. It's direct. So direct you don't have to absorb. But it's a variable overhead that is absorbed on a direct labor hour basis. Okay. Yeah. So labor, no, it's a variable overhead. But because this is for 1 labor hour, and this variable overhead is also absorbed on labor hour, so I merge it to go faster in exam. Yeah, because nobody's going to need to see this separately because we don't need to show workings. So I merge the two to go faster in exam. On top of that, the other reason, so that I don't have to write, I can just calculate it on my calculator, add to my memory on my calculator, so I can move faster. Remember, the memory of your calculator, using the calculator to do your work rather than writing, is very important. Otherwise, the biggest problem we're having on this exam, students are not doing the last question, 20 marks on sections. They're not doing, they're simply not doing it. Yeah, they just run out of time by the time they finish question 31 in section C. So basically, you will be surprised if I tell you this, majority of students who sit for PM are only answering 80 marks. They're only answering 80 marks. And so when someone is getting 45 over 80, you're in a very, very sad situation that you have passed because you've got 45 over 80, which is more than 50%. But you have also failed because you did not get 50 marks. And that failure is not due because you don't have knowledge, because you're not capable, but simply because you did not have enough time. That is why from day one, I always insist on showing you all the ways to save time. For example, no need to read number 4 just now. On the day of the exam, by eliminating and not reading a line saves you a minute. So if there are 30 questions, which are short, section A and section B. If on those 30 questions, yeah, we save 10 minutes or 15 minutes, which is quite possible based on the technique that we use, those will allow us to have enough time to do the whole of section C. If you can do the whole of the exam, you are much, much more likely to pass. This is ACCA. It's always the case. It's time. Your problem is not you. Your problem is not your knowledge. Because I've been teaching here 18 years. My Ugandan students are generally, especially when they're near to the exam, like anyone in the world, they really study. Yeah. And so as a result, they know their subjects. They can go to exam, but because of time. And this is normal for anyone in the world. Yeah. It's time that kills you, really. Yeah. So the reason why we don't write the margin, etc. Yeah. Yes. 2. Okay. Never mind.
If I told the person that decided to derive the target cost from, would the direct material cost be what we send to the hourly basis, just like the way we compare to direct labor cost and variable cost per unit?
Yeah, you'll have to do it. I mean, they won't tell you that, but yes, your logic is correct.
So, is there a provision for me to pass sample section? Just like the way the demand papers are represented. Is there a provision for me to pass sample section?
Yeah, you can start anywhere you want. Yeah, even on my mock, you can start on section C. Yeah, so you can, but what you have to do is, once you get started, it will open on question 1. Okay, that's quite normal. Okay, yeah. Then you go at the bottom of the screen. Let's say over the weekend we have a little bit of time. We open the platform and we show. Okay, so remind me, but I have to bring all my passwords, everything, which I don't remember. So it's on my computer, so I'll have to extract it. Yeah, then we can access. Then at the bottom of the screen on the right, there's a sort of place where you can click and it moves to the next question, next question, next question. The slight difficulty you will have is some student just is moving from one question to another is going to slow you down. So you have to open up, there's something you open up where you can move to section B straight away and move to section C straight away. Yeah. So we'll have to show that then. Yeah. So remind me. Yeah. So I have to make sure I write my one because I have lots of difficulty with this practice platform. Every time I access it, the next time it's like I've saved it in my password on my computer. It says no. So finally, I think I have mastered it finally. So it's because they have now a new practice platform, and we have to change all. So Richard helped to change everything, and I changed, and then I could not access. But finally, I think I'm getting access now. Yeah. So it's just that I'll have to use this computer to do that. That's already stressing me now. So we'll do that over the weekend. Remind me, yeah. Okay. Question. So you can start anywhere you want. Okay, you can start anywhere you want. You can start on section B, you can start on section C. However, don't forget, wherever you start, even if you decide to start on section C, which is a very good idea, okay, you still have to control your time, yeah? Even in section C, it's easy. You have only 45 minutes for one question, right? 36 minutes for one question, 20 marks. 0.2 times 180, 36 minutes. 36 minutes only. It's still, yeah, it's little, it was a big performance question. Yeah. So you have to make sure you stick within that 36 minutes. Yeah. So even then, time is of the essence. So if you get a materials mix and yield variance, then you use the techniques that I have taught, you go very fast. You go faster than examiner gives you. Yeah. So some techniques we have that help us go extremely fast, but some topics you can't go fast. It just takes its time. Like, you know, when you write about the performance report, you have to calculate the those ratios and then write about it. But I'll explain to you about it, something to help you understand how you can still move. Yeah. So remind me all of this. Question number 9. Oh, this question here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Which section do you recommend? This is the thing, is I do not want to recommend, because like I just said, even if you start with section C, if you don't control your time, you will find students taking 1.5 hours, meaning 45 minutes on question 31 and 45 minutes on question 32. So half of their time is gone on section C. However, the only advantage with section C that we have is that it's not like section A and B. Section A and B, you either get 2 marks or 0. And no human beings will look at your answers. Only the computer looks at your answer. While in section C, even if you're getting some parts wrong and some parts right, as long as you show all your workings, a human being is going to open up and look at all your work and give you part of the marks if you deserve it. You understand that? So let's say you do in the time given, 1 hour, 12 minutes to do the 2 questions. You don't do that well, but you do well enough. You can expect to come out hopefully with 25 over 40. That's good. Yeah, that's actually good. Then you still have to seek another 25 marks, meaning another 13 correct answers in section A and B. So the advantage of starting with section C, if you can control your time, then when you move to section A, you move with all the easier questions that you're getting. Question 1, you think you can answer, boom, do. Question 2, if it's not a calculation, okay, even you don't know the answer, you can close your eyes and choose. Yeah. Question 3, but you keep moving. Yeah, and hopefully you get another 26 marks and you're done. Okay, you're done. So you can choose. When you start with section A, the same thing happens. You can still start and keep moving. As long as you keep moving, you should be able to have enough time. Yeah. So the advantage of starting with section C, what I noticed with students is they sometimes on a 2 marks question calculation, you're not supposed to spend more than 5 minutes. They're spending 6, 7, 8 minutes. So the tendency to spend more time on section A and B is higher than the tendency to spend more time on section C. Are you following? Yeah. But the last word about this is, unless you have tried to take an exam paper and try to do it in 3 hours, you really don't know. So what you should do is do a paper, start with section A, B, and C, see how far you get in 3 hours. You understand what I'm saying? Just see how far you get and how far what you did not answer. Then do another paper. You start this time with section B. Then go to section A, and then go to section C. It's like do all the commutation. A third one, start with section C, go to B, go to A. A fourth paper, you start with section C, go to A, and go to B. Four. Then you will understand which one you are more efficient. Did you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if the one that combines and gives you, okay, I've done C, A, and B in 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, so you know that's and the rest have been taking more than 3 hours, 15 minutes, then you know you're most efficient in the combination of C, A, B. Someone else might find it's more efficient to do B, C, A. Unless you try yourself, you will not know. I can guarantee you, you'll take more than 3 hours. That I can guarantee you. Yeah, because this is ACCA. I can be sure of that. If you want to answer everything, you'll take more than 3 hours. But now the idea is to identify which combination takes you the least time. And then once you get that combination, you keep refining until you can do it in 3 hours. You understand? So if I have a combination that's taking me 3 hours and 30 minutes, I have to improve by 30 minutes. But if I have got a combination that's taking me 3 hours and 15 minutes, my improvement in only 15 minutes. It's always easier to improve by 15 minutes than by 30 minutes. So that's why I do not really want to say, because until you try, you don't really know. I have seen students who are very efficient moving from A to B because they are able to quickly decide, I cannot do this one. And if it's A, B, C, D, they close eyes, they give an answer, they move. I've got students who do this, but then they are indecisive. Because they are indecisive, they say, I'll come back to it. I've been telling them, you will not have time to come back, but they still think they can come back. You understand? So unless you are aware, some students are very decisive. They know that I will not be able to come back. I make my decision now. I'll put an answer now. So basically, when they finish A, they have finished A. There's no coming back. They do B, they do B. They're watching their time and they're efficient. And in fact, some of them can reach section C with 1 hour and not 1 hour, 12 minutes, sometimes 1 hour and 15 minutes to spare. Yeah. So it's a matter of how you work through it, you know, difficult to say. Yeah, but section C is easier to score marks usually, as long as you attempt, because even wrong answers sometimes will give part of the marks. Yeah, that's the only consolation. Which two of the following activities are environmental internal failure costs? You still remember this one? Yeah. Internal failure. That means we have got a waste that has happened, something that has like a toxic material that has been produced, but we are able to identify it and deal with it before it escapes to outside. It hasn't become external yet. Everybody okay? Okay. So what we're going to do with this revision is to identify each one and identify what it is. Remember, we have 4. There's environmental prevention costs. You remember? Okay, number one, environmental prevention cost. Then environmental detection cost. Then environmental internal failure and environmental external failure. Everyone still remember? Yes? Okay. Quality control inspections to monitor pollution levels in water leaving a production process. Is this internal failure cost? What cost is this? No? No? What did you say? Someone said? Detection. Because it is an inspection. It's monitoring. Monitoring means you're detecting. So this is a environmental detection cost. You're trying to detect, you're trying to appraise. In quality, we say appraisal cost. Water purification treatment to clean wastewater before it leaves the factory. Internal failure, yes. That means you already have the wastewater, so it's already failed. Wastewater is a failure. You're now spending money to treat that before it goes out. So this is internal failure. So this is one of the answer. We need two. So one we got already, B. C, fitting of carbon filters to machine processors to reduce carbon emissions. Prevention. To reduce means it will reduce pollution. Reduce is prevention. Meaning it will reduce failure. So it cannot be failure. Yeah. So this is environmental prevention. Prevention. Remember the word is reduce. Yeah. So you're preventing, you're reducing. Power usage. What's the difference with external failure? Okay. Internal failure is this here. Look at B. So water purification treatment to clean wastewater before it leaves. So you have spent money. The wastewater is a failure. Okay. But now you spend money before it leaves. So you have identified the failure and you have spent money internally in the factory before it goes out the factory. If, however, this wastewater, you did not treat it, no treatment, and the wastewater is allowed to leave the factory into the river, and then the authorities test the water in the river and find that it is polluted, they will find their way back to your factory and see you are the one who are releasing this wastewater into the environment. Then it becomes an external failure. They'll ask you to clean the whole river. That's going to be very expensive. It has happened. Yeah, companies are being asked to close, or the government then will clean the river. The authorities, the water authority, will clean the river, and they will bill you, and you will have to pay. So then it becomes an external failure cost. Is that okay? Yeah. So this is a good question. So please don't hesitate to ask. Jonathan, I think that answers the question. Power usage measuring system to monitor energy consumption. Detection, yes. You're monitoring energy consumption. So that's going to be detection cost. Remember, power usage, electricity is considered to be a polluting input, because many countries, like we said, they burn diesel or coal to produce electricity, unlike in Uganda. Uganda, you have a lot of hydroelectric. Payment of fines for breaching environmental regulations in the industry. Yes, you are breached, so you have to pay fines. So that is an external failure. So that's a very good example, Jonathan, of an external failure cost. Yeah, correct. Insulation of heating pipes in the factory to reduce heat loss. Say again. Prevention? Yes. Yes, don't hesitate. Yeah. No, it's prevention. Why? Okay, let me explain to you. You need to have a little bit of experience about some manufacturing environment. A lot of manufacturing environment, you need steam, yeah, to produce certain things. Sometimes they have what we call steam rollers, yeah. Even when you produce, you know, these fiber board, you know, this kind of table is a fiber board. To press this fiber boards, these machines use steam, heat. So you have to, what these companies have, they have boilers. So the boilers is producing the steam. Then the steam is used in production. Now, in cold countries, this steam, this heat is easily lost. Do you follow? And so you need to keep boiling. You need to keep boiling. The more you boil, the more you have to use. Some of them use coal. They burn coal. Some use diesel. And some use electricity. So the more you have to boil to raise the heat level, the more the cost will be higher. And the more you will burn coal, the more you will burn diesel, the more you will use electricity. So the higher the environmental emissions. You got that? Okay. So by insulating your heating pipes, you don't need to keep producing the heat. You understand? And therefore, you will reduce your electricity costs. You will reduce your burning of coal, of diesel. As a result, it is a prevention cost. Is that okay? So there's a context to it. That's why it's a bit difficult. There's a context. Yeah. The easiest other way to explain is, in a cold country, we need to heat the room. We need to heat the building up because it's cold. And so if you can't, if the building loses the heat very quickly, you need to keep heating up. And this is one of the biggest problems in countries like in the UK. In winter, you find it's a very big problem. There were years, 2-3 years ago, when the cost of electricity was very high. So families who can't afford were actually having to live in the cold. They have a house, but they can probably only afford to heat one room. So everybody have to huddle into one room. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because the cost of electricity became too high. Now it's gone down, so now it's a bit better. Yeah. In many of these advanced countries, people are very poor, you know. You don't see it. Yeah, but they are poor because they just cannot afford simple things. Yeah. You look at the house, you find that the house externally, it's looking nice, but there's not enough to go around. Yeah. It's just that you don't really see it. Yeah. Of course, those who are homeless, you can see them, and it's very difficult. Public relations costs to remedy reputational damage caused by accidental river pollution. External, because already the river has been polluted, so it's an external failure cost. So the last one remain. We need two. So the last one has to be the answer. Capturing and recycling of waste, exhaust gases to generate energy. Yeah, so this is recycling. But again, did you fail already? Yes, because your factory have produced waste exhaust gases. That's a failure. That's a failure. But because you're capturing it and you're recycling it, so the cost of capturing and recycling is internal failure cost. Yeah. So the minute you produce waste or you produce toxic material, that's automatically going to be a failure. It's just whether the failure is captured and treated in the factory, it becomes internal failure. So B and H. Where did we go there? Zool company manufactures a single product, the Zoot, which is made from a mix of two chemicals, A and B. The company accounts for environmental costs using input-output analysis. Yeah, input-output analysis is the easy one compared to flow cost accounting. Remember, we have two techniques here, input-output analysis and then flow cost accounting. Flow cost accounting is more detailed than input-output. Chemical A costs $1,000 per ton. Chemical B costs $1,500 per ton. Any chemicals which are wasted in the production process must be disposed of at a cost of $250 per ton. June's production run used 10 tons of chemical A and 50 tons of chemical B, and total output was 54 tons. What is the environmental cost of June's production run? So remember, input output is very simple. You say, what's the input? So we have A, we have B, total. Yeah, we input, use 10 tons of A. Input 10 tons of A and 50 tons of B. Total we input is equal to 60. What's the output? Output is 54. What's the waste? 6, yeah, correct, 6. So now that you know, this is the one that will have environmental cost, the 6 tons. The first cost you will have is the cost of the chemical itself. Agree? And then the second cost is the cost of the disposal. But then you say 6. How many tons are chemical A? How many tons are chemical B? Yeah, 6 tons. How many A? How many B? Because A costs $1,000, B costs $1,500. Yeah, exactly. Simple logic. Since you have input 10 and 50, what's the ratio? 1 to 5. So take the 6, 1 to 5. 1A, 5B. Very good. Easy. Simple logic. Very well done. Yeah. So 1 times $1,000 on your calculator. 5 times 1,005. So 5 times 1,005 is 75. 1 times 1 is 1, 85. Then 6 times 250. 6 times 250 is 15. 15 plus 85 is 10. No need for calculator. But you got lost. Come, let me show you in the Excel. Yeah. The more questions you do, the faster you'll get at it. The calculation part. I'm talking about the calculation part just now. Without the calculator, you can do. There. So 10 tons of input, 50B, 60 minus 54, 6 is A and B. As he said, just follow the same ratio. 6, 60, 1 to 5. So give 1 ton of waste A, 1 ton of waste B. The cost of A is $1,000. The cost of B is $1,500. Disposal cost per ton is $250. And $250 doesn't matter whether it's A or B. So final environmental cost for 1 ton of A is 1,000 plus 250, 1,250. 1,005 plus 250, 1,750 for B. Multiply 1 ton times 1,250, 5 tons times 1,750, total 10,000. Answer is D. Yeah, answer is D. Yeah, when it's done, you realize it's very easy. Which one is? No? Yeah. Yes. It's the cost of disposal. It's different. So when you waste 6 tons, so you waste materials first. Yeah. Then because you have to dispose, you have to spend some more. Yeah. Yeah. So the cost increases because of the disposal. I will upload the file. Don't worry. Just access. I mean, if you want to write, I'm not going to stop you. Obviously, it's good to write. Yeah, it's always better to write on the spot because it tends, when you're writing and doing at the same time, it tends to enter the brain better. Later on, you look at it, it's like you're watching a show. Yeah. So it's good to work together with me. But if you miss anything, don't worry. I will upload the file. Okay, we move on. So question 11, the budgeted overheads. The budgeted overheads of NAMBRO, yeah, for the next year have been analyzed as follows. Purchase order processing cost of 450,000. These are all overheads, yeah? These are all overheads. Purchase order processing cost 450,000. Production run setup cost 180,000. Machine running cost 640,000. Yeah. This question came out in 2025. 2025, yeah. Or December 24, one of these two, but very recent, this one, this question 11. In the next year, it is anticipated that machines will run. Okay, let me see what question there is here. How is environmental cost obtained? Jonathan, the environmental cost, what you do is, it is made up of the input cost, which is wasted. So you're wasting, for example, for A, 1 ton of material A. So this is input or material cost. Then the question say, for every ton of waste, you have to spend $250 to dispose of it. So what I've done as environmental cost, I've added the cost of material wasted, 1,000 in this case for A, plus 250 become 1,250 per ton. Then multiply by 1 ton becomes 1,250. For this one, the material cost is more expensive, it's 1,005, but the disposal cost is also 250, the same. Total per ton, therefore, you will have, if you have a waste, it's going to be 1,750 multiplied by 5 gives you 8,750. Here we're back in question 11. In the next year, it is anticipated that machines will run for 32,000 hours. There'll be 6,000 purchase orders will be processed, and there'll be 450 production runs. One of the company's products, Alpha, is produced in batches of 500. Each batch requires a separate production run, 30 purchase orders, and 750 machine hours. This is an ABC question. So using activity-based costing, what is the overhead cost per unit in dollars of product Alpha to 2 decimal places? So very similar to what we have done in class. You got 3 activities. Activity number 1, order processing. Activity number 2, production setup. Activity number 3, machine running. So 3 activities. What's the next step in activity-based costing? Once you have identified the activities, you find the cost driver, isn't it? So for order processing, what should be the cost driver? They have given you. There's 32,000 hours, 6,000 purchase orders, 450 runs. So order processing, what will I use? Order. That's just it. 6,000. So the cost driver plus the number of cost driver will be 6,000 purchase orders. So done, use already. We are left with 2. Production run setup cost. What you will use? Run. Agree? Huh? So 450 production runs. What's left? 32,000 hours. So machines will run for 32,000 hours. Machines will run. So 32,000 hours of machine. So we've done all the steps nearly now. Step number 1 in activity-based costing is identify the activity, which we have seen. Step number 2, find the cost driver. Step number 3, the cost of the activity, which is given. Step number 4, the number of cost drivers. 5 and 6, you calculate. Yeah. Step 5 is to calculate what's the cost per driver. Cost per driver. Yeah, cost per driver. Let me erase this part here. Okay. It's very unhappy. Okay, hang on. Now let's use this screen. You have to be very gentle. Yeah. Cost per driver. I'll show the first calculation. You take $450,000 divide by 6,000 purchase orders. Everybody okay? So 450 divided by 6. So on calculator, you don't type 450,000 divided by 6,000. You're wasting time. 450 divided by 6 because both figures are in thousand. So this will become $75 per order. This one will be 180,000 divided by 450 runs. This one you have to type the thousand, because the runs is not thousand. 180,000 with all the zeros in your calculator divided by 450. So that is 400. And then here, 640,000 divided by 32,000 hours. You just take 640 divided by 32. 640 should be 2, right? 640 divided by 32. $20 per hour. This one per hour. This one per PO. This one per run. So now we have to calculate for alpha. Okay, I don't think I have it in the Excel file, so I'll type it in the Excel file for you now. I'll just do cost per driver directly, yeah. Okay, so question 11. So cost per driver. So activity. We have 3 activity. The first one is order processing. The other one is setup, machine setup. The other one is machine running. Yeah, machine running. Yep. Okay. The cost in dollar is 450,000, 180,000, 600,000. So then cost per driver. Well, let's put the number of drivers so that you can follow. Number of drivers. So here we'll have, we said just now, we have 6,000 purchase orders. Here we have how many runs? 450 runs. And then we have 32,000 machine hours. Machine hours. Okay, so what we do now, cost per driver. So we just divide 450 divided by 6,000, $75. So this is per this one is back. Per PO, this will be 400, and this will be 18.75. Yeah. So this is per run. This will be per machine hour. All right. So now we work on alpha. 640? Hang on. So 6, you mean this cost here? Yes, 640. 20? Yeah, okay. All right. So what they say about alpha, they say alpha is produced in batches of 500, and each batch requires a production run, 30 purchase orders, and 750 machine hours, but they want the cost per unit. So what we can do is we calculate per batch first, and then we divide by 500. Is that okay? All right. So one batch of alpha. So alpha, one batch. We will need each batch requires one production run. Okay. One batch will be one run. Okay. Then we need 30 purchase orders. Perhaps it's easier and faster to just write on the paper. Yeah. And finally, we need 750 machine hours. Yep. So that is one batch. 30 purchase orders, a separate run. So one run and 750 machine hours for one batch. So what's the overhead cost for each activity? For one batch, you multiply. So overhead cost, that's the last step to get the ABC, $75 for one purchase order. 30 purchase order costs you $250 for one batch. Okay, for one batch. One run is $400 and 750 machine hours. One machine hour is 20, so 15,000. So the total overhead cost for one batch is going to be 2250 plus 400 plus 15,000. This is for one batch. For one batch of alpha. Now, in one batch, we have how many units? One batch of alpha has, what did it say? 5 in batches of 500. So one batch has 500 units. For one batch of alpha that has 500 units. So therefore, the overhead cost, this is overhead cost for one batch. So overhead cost per unit of alpha will be 17,650 divided by 500. So $35 and 30 cents. So the final answer, you have to type it in the box given, will be $35.3. Yeah, they say you have to give the answer to 2 decimal places. So you type it, you type 35.3 should be okay, not to worry. Or you type 35.30 should be okay. Anyway, it defaults back to 35.3. So this is an example of a question that some of you will take 10 minutes to do in the exam, which would mean that if you're going to take 10 minutes, you better don't do. And this is an example. I mean, I have to be direct to you. It's not you, it's everyone in the world who is a student of PM. Yeah, I will try to show you now one technique where you'll go a bit faster. So first finish writing, but it is quite normal that, I mean, of course I'm using spreadsheet, it takes longer on spreadsheet because I want to have a record of it for you to see later, yeah? Okay. Even if you write on paper, it's going to take a long time. Okay. So there is a way to do this. I'll write it for you, but you will actually do it mostly on calculator. And you will then be able to do it in less than 5 minutes, maybe between 4 to 5 minutes. Okay? All right. Otherwise, it will take you 10 minutes. If you can learn the quick technique that I'm going to teach you now, of course, during class, I don't teach you this one because it's not going to be easy to learn a quick technique when you're still learning what ABC is. Yeah? So if you can't master the quick technique, it's not a problem. It's not the end of the world. You won't fail. But you have to realize that I cannot do it in 5 minutes, then I better not do it. If they ask you to give a box, you can't give an answer. You just move on. If they give you A, B, C, D, then maybe you use your 5 minutes, you get an answer, you put. Beyond 5 minutes, you just use close eyes, put A, B, or C, or D. You understand? If they give you an empty box like this question, there's nothing you can do. Just move on. We only need 50 marks to pass. We don't need 75. We don't need 90 to pass. You understand? The objective is to pass, not to impress no one. No one will care whether you got 80 or 50, as long as you pass. Agree? So, must have the courage to know what are our limits. We cannot do it in 5 minutes. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to move on. I'll be having enough opportunity to score 60. Don't worry. Now follow carefully. Okay? It's going to be a bit challenging. I just want to remind you, revision class go on until 9:30. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll give, after this, I'll give you a break. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me show you how we're going to do this. What we're going to do, so this is question 11, right? Question 11, this is number. There is a technique in ABC, which I call the proportionate technique. What is it called? The proportionate technique. Proportionate technique is a bit mathematical, but if you can capture it, it's going to be very nice to do. Okay. Let's take the first. You still have to identify the activities, the cost drivers, the number of cost drivers, etc. But we'll do everything in one row. So let's take the activity number 1. Activity number 1 in this case is the purchase order, right? Okay, order processing. Now, order processing, they said to us the cost is 450,000. Agree? Immediately when you do the cost, you will divide by the number of orders, which in this case is 6,000. So you will not write down the cost per driver. Instead, you proportionately immediately say this is 6,000 POs. Alpha requires how many POs? You got that? 750. And this answer that you will get here will go straight into your calculator and in the memory. So what you get here, you'll still be able to find it. We will get this figure here. But instead of showing it separately, oh, this is, where is it? 2250, sorry, $75, then 2250. Okay, so it's not 750, it is 30, sorry. So let me erase this. The straight multiplied by 30. So 450,000. So 450, you're still doing the same thing, but you're doing at one shot. So the idea is, you know, they have 3 activities. So you take your calculator. So all of this, you're not going to write. You're not going to write. You read the question, you say, okay, the first activity is order processing. You don't go too fast. Automatically, it will take 5 minutes. Okay. First activity is order processing. What's the total cost of the activity? 450,000. Type on your, with all the 1,000, no problem. 450,000 on your calculator. What's the number of purchase order? Divide by 6,000. This is a 75 up here, but you don't write. The same 75 which we got here. We're not going to write it. It's taking too long. So with a 75, I immediately multiply by 30. I get 2250. This is the only figure I'm writing on the paper which is given to me, on the workings paper. You got that? Okay. Then that 2250 now, it's here. Although you're writing it, you put M plus. It has gone into the memory. So technically, if you don't make any mistake, even that 2250, no need to write. But never mind, let's write the 2250. Otherwise you say, that means I write nothing. Yeah, technically possible. But let me not push you that far. Yeah. So I go to activity number 2. Again, I'm not going to write. What's the second activity in this case? Setup cost. Agree? What is the setup cost? I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to write the number. The setup cost is 180,000. What's the number of drivers? 450 runs. And we only need 1 run for alpha, you see? So you just take 180,000 divided by 450. On your calculator, it's 400. That's it, M plus. And the third one is activity number 3, which is a machine running. I'm not writing it at all. You're getting used to it now, hopefully, if you're working with me. On your calculator, what is it going to be? What's the cost? 600,000. Agree? 640. Yeah, okay. 640,000. Always. Sorry, my eyes are getting worse. I'm getting old. Yeah. 640,000. What's the number of machine hours? 32,000. Divide by 32,000. So on your calculator, you'll get that 20. That 20 which we have got here. That 20. Then you multiply by 750 on your calculator straight away. So you multiply by 750. And your answer is 15,000. And again, you M plus. Now you recall memory, MR. You already get 17,650 already. So even this, there is no need to write. You can then start writing TS17. Even the 17,650, there is no need to write. Because the 17,650 is for 1 batch. And you know that 1 batch has got 500 units. Yeah, what we got here just now. 17,650. One batch got what, 500 units. You just divide by 500. And your answer is 35.3. So technically, as long as you know your activity-based costing steps, everything can be done on a good calculator like this, which is only a cheap calculator. I'm not marketing for this company, don't worry. Yeah, there you go. because it has a good memory function. The scientific calculator doesn't have a user-friendly memory function. That's a problem. Yeah, it's not user-friendly, it's a memory function. This one is user-friendly. On top of that, if you want to type many zero, you have this double zero here. Time. I'm not asking you to buy a new calculator, but if you want to save time in the exam, there it is. A simple device like this, you can buy the made in China one, no problem. It's cheaper. After exam, you can throw away also. Yeah, yeah, you want to buy the Japanese one? This one is the Japanese one. It's a bit more expensive. Yeah, but it's a good investment, believe me. Because you're not going to use it only for this. You're going for tax paper, for FR. You know, so many accounting papers. You'll need it. You'll need it, and even sometimes in the office you use it. Yeah, and there you go. So if you are able to master, do a few calculations on ABC in writing, then 3 days later, do the same calculation using only calculator and see whether you can do. If you can do, you're ready. Now you don't have to be active. Somebody will be spending 10 minutes on it. You 4 minutes you can do. And you don't have to write. You got to get to that level. It's not impossible. If other people can do it, you can do it. I am showing you the way. If I can do it on my calculator, you can do it. Yeah, I did not get good score when I did management accounting when I was a student, although I'm teaching it. Yeah, when I pass it, I pass it. I think this is one of my lowest marks that I got. Yeah, so I'm not very good at it before. Yeah, we okay? Yeah, okay. So let's go for a break. Yeah, and after the break, we'll continue. So here the answer is 35.3. We'll continue with FRAM. You can have a 15 minutes break. Yeah, 15 minutes, not longer. Oh, there were questions. Yes, 2 decimal places. So free, because it's 0, it will show in the exam. You can do it. Yes. Just email it to me. Yeah. So how it comes. Okay, just put ARSHAD ADAM SHAD ADAM SA@gmail.com. Attach it and send it to me. Don't forget to put your name. Anyway, I see your name from your email. Yeah. Unless you say, some people have email address that doesn't show their name. No, mine will show their name. Okay, then I will know. Okay, let's read. The next question is a scenario section B, which means you have to read the scenario and then you have to attempt 5 questions. Yeah. Some students have also come back to me and says they like to start with this one, rather than section C or section A. Because section A are 15 questions that stand alone. Section A. But section B, for each scenario, you can answer 5 questions. Yeah. But again, like I say, it all depends on your experience, your personality. You know, you have to test yourself with this. Once you know which one is the best place to start, then you do that. Okay, so FRAM company is involved in the processing of sheet metal into products A, B, and C using 3 processes: pressing, stretching, and rolling. Information about the 3 products per meter. So all the information is given here is per meter, per meter, per meter. Selling price, variable costs of materials and labor. Excuse me. And other factory costs are all fixed and total $17,975,000 per year. Raw material for the sheet metal is first pressed, then stretched, and finally rolled. The pressing process has been identified as a bottleneck, and the factory manager has provided the following data. So we need pressing time per meter. So this is 0.5 hours per meter. Okay, so product B also is 0.5 hours per meter, and product C is 0.4 hours per meter. There are 225,000 hours of pressing time available each year. Maximum demand for each product is 200,000 meters per year. Okay, so they have identified the bottleneck for you. Pressing is a bottleneck. Yeah. Using throughput accounting, question number 1 for the scenario: how many meters of each product should be made per year in order to maximize profits? So what you will have to do is find the throughput return. We have to use throughput accounting. So we need to do throughput return for each product per meter. How to calculate throughput return? Throughput return is equal to selling price minus cost of material. But to be able to do the ranking, you need to do throughput return per bottleneck hour. In this case, the bottleneck is pressing. So you do that for A, B, and C. Then you do ranking. It's not difficult. 70 minus 3. This is for 1 meter. Divide by 0.5 hours. Finish. You got it. Throughput return per bottleneck hour. In class, we have done this many times. Everybody understand? Okay. So A, for example, will be 70 minus 3. Throughput return will be for A, 67. 70 minus 3. 67 divided by 0.5. 67 divided by 0.5. So that's $134 per meter. Yeah. Okay, sorry, per hour. This one now, 60 minus 2.5. 60 minus 2.5 is 57.5 divided by 0.5, which works out to 115 per hour throughput return. C, 70 minus 10 is $60 divided by 0.4. So that's 150. So the one that is rank number 1 is this one. Rank number 2 is this one. Rank number 3 is B. Then you allocate the time, the pressing time. This is a question that they're asking. Using throughput accounting, how many meters of each product should be made per year in order to maximize profit? So you first allocate to number 1, which is C. To allocate, what's the maximum demand? Maximum demand for each product is 200,000. So if C is number 1, C is number 1, A is number 2, and B is number 3. Even if you don't calculate, you can know the answer. The number 1 will always be able to produce maximum. The number 1 will always be able to produce maximum. And the maximum is 200,000. Only 2 answers are 200,000. So this is eliminated, and this is eliminated. You're left with 2 answers without doing any further calculation. So A is eliminated, D is eliminated. I can also eliminate answer B. Why? Because answer B say produce 200, 200, 200, which is maximum for all 3. If you can produce maximum for all 3, there is no constraint. Agree? Logically. So sometimes your understanding, logical understanding can actually save you time. Logically, if there is a constraint, and they told you it is a bottleneck, they told me pressing time is a bottleneck. If pressing time is a bottleneck, that means you cannot produce maximum demand for all 3 products. Maybe for 2 you can, but all 3 you cannot. And answer B show maximum for A, maximum for B, maximum demand for C. It's impossible. Therefore, answer remains. And I haven't done any further calculation. You want to do the full calculation? I show you. It will take longer. So sometimes it's not about I don't have time. Sometimes it's about using the logic, simple business logic, to realize that. Look at the answer. So one of the techniques you must learn, let me look at the answer and let me eliminate. I've told you that many times. Elimination can get you to an answer in less time than the examiner has even provided. So now you're beating the examiner at his game. Once you start beating the examiner at his game, you will finish his exam and attempt 100 marks. No problem. Then no one can stop you from passing. The game is time. And to play the time game, there are so many games to use, so many techniques, so many tricks. This is one of them. You want the full answer in detail? Come, you see how long it will take. Come, I show you. Okay, watch. So the same thing, 70, 60, 70 selling price, less material cost, throughput return. Everybody okay? We did that also just now. Pressing time is a bottleneck. We need 0.5, 0.5, 0.4. I divide. We did that also just now. So we got 134, 150, 115, and 150. We got that just now. There. 134, 115, 150. We got all this. Then we got this 1, 2, and 3. This is what we got. But what we did just now, we stopped here. Once we got the ranking 1, 2, and 3, we stopped, we look at the answer. And we started eliminating logically from the answer. A and D, we eliminated immediately. Because the one which is number 1, you will always give priority. And when you give priority, you see, you have total time available for pressing 225,000. It's given here. Total time available, 225,000 hours of pressing time available. Agree? Okay. And since product C is to be given priority number 1, 200,000 meters is the maximum demand. You need 0.4 hours. So you will use 80,000. Do we have enough time? Yes. Can we produce maximum for C? Always. So what we did here was we said we eliminate A because you're not producing maximum for C when C is number 1. We eliminate D because you tell me produce 0C. How you produce 0C when C is number 1? So only B and C can be the answer. The next logic we use, we know that B is the lowest rank. Because it is the lowest rank, it is impossible to produce maximum because you won't have enough pressing time. So because of that, we limited B, we got answer C, we are laughing, we are moving on, we did little calculation. Not that you don't know, you know how to do the calculation. But we are doing this to save time. We're doing and getting the correct answer in less time. But if you want to do the full answer, there it is. See how much more time? It will take you another 2 to 3 minutes. So from 225,000, I want to produce 200,000 maximum demand of C. I need 80,000 hours. So I now remove the 80,000 hours from how many hours I have. I'm left with 145. I move to rank number 2. Rank number 2 is A. A also maximum demand is 200,000. A uses 0.5 hours. So I need 100,000 hours to do A. Do I have? Yes, I have 145. So now it's confirmed. I can produce 200,000 A, 200,000 C. How many hours am I left? 45,000. 145 minus 100, 45. So now all the 45,000 I give to B. When I give this to B, B also use 0.5. I take 45,000, divide by 0.5, I get 90,000 meters of B. I put it in the column of B. And that is the final answer, which is A, 200,000, B, 90, and C, 200,000. The full calculation can be done. But imagine that will take you 2 more minutes. If you're calm, you're already getting jittery in the exam, you might make mistakes some more. So sometimes we don't need to do the final calculation. Yeah. So this is the reason we are running this revision class. During class also, we do a lot of questions. But during class, the questions we were doing were for teaching, were for learning. Now the revision class is a different type of class. The questions we do during revision is to get you to learn how to pass, how to save time, how to get it correct, but also revise. You understand? So these two courses, the normal course and the revision course, they have different aims. Are you okay with this now? Yes? Any question on number 12? That means this first question of FRAM. Okay. So let's look at the next question. Which of the following activities could FRAM company use to improve the throughput accounting ratio? We did similar in class. So basically, let's revise. What is your TA ratio? TA ratio is, how do we calculate? Throughput return per bottleneck hour divided by factory cost per bottleneck hour. So remember, throughput return per bottleneck hour, just now we saw it. How do we do it? Throughput return per bottleneck hour is going to be selling price minus material cost divided by bottleneck time. And factory cost per bottleneck hour is basically all the costs except material. All costs, labor costs, overheads, all costs excluding material cost. Divide by bottleneck time. Sometimes they call it factory time. Everybody okay? All right. Remember, this one becomes a denominator, factory cost, and throughput return becomes a numerator. This one you must memorize. The exam, we do not give you this formula on the day of the exam on the formula page. You got to memorize. It's not difficult. Once you have done the question a few times, it comes to you easily. And I've already I'm already using abbreviations here. So easy. TR per bottleneck hour, FC per bottleneck hour. TR means throughput return. FC means factory cost. You can even say fixed cost if you want. Yeah. So throughput return is selling price minus material. Very easy. And factory cost is every cost except excluding material cost. Labor cost comes under factory cost. Factory overheads come under factory cost. So now, for the throughput accounting ratio to improve, meaning if I want to increase the throughput accounting ratio, mathematically, I should try to increase throughput return and decrease the factory cost. Agree? So whatever component goes in the factory cost, you try to decrease it. And whatever component goes in the throughput return per bottleneck hour, you try to increase it, the cost or the revenue. So when they say identify ways, this is the first one they say, identify ways to reduce the material cost. Will that help? Yes, because if you can reduce the material cost, this throughput return per bottleneck hour will increase. And if this increase, the TA ratio will increase. Yes, number one, yes. You are in the exam. You want to get out of it in 3 hours by attempting 100 marks. You're not going to impress no one except yourself. Therefore, as soon as you can eliminate, you eliminate. Done. CD. I'm not going to look at them. Agree? Number one is the correct answer. C doesn't have number one. D doesn't have number one. No looking at it again. It's gone. I'm not going to even give it a second look. I don't have time for it. I want to pass. Now, one is correct. Do I need to read number two in the exam? No, because our aim is at C and D. Number two is in A, number two is in B. It is correct. Do you read? No. No. Is number three to be read? No. No. What else do you read? Number four. You read one, you read four, you get your answer. Do you want to go to exam now? Yeah. There will be 8 sessions like this, you know. I will teach you all these techniques, including in section C. You listen to me. I've been teaching this thing for 25 years. Not today. In Uganda for 18 years. Oh, I mean 95, 30 years. Oh my goodness. I started teaching ACCA CIMA in 1995. This is 30 years. That's why I say 18 years in Uganda cannot be 25. Must be more than that. Number 4, apply and increase the selling price of the products. Yes or no? Yes, because if you increase selling price, throughput return will increase, throughput ratio will increase. Number 4 is correct. Answer is B. Finish, done. Okay, we'll read 2 and 3 to explain. But in exam, you only read 1 and 4, and you got your answer already. Yeah, so the answer is B. We go, we write our answer is B. We are done us for exam. Yeah, here let me explain. So we know number 2 is correct. Why is it correct? Improve the control of their total operating expenses. The idea here is if you can improve the control, you could be able to reduce it. Which cost they're talking about? This one. Total operating expenses means they're not talking about material costs. They're talking about this one. If you could improve this control, if this were to reduce, if this cost were to reduce, factory cost will reduce. If factory costs reduce, throughput accounting ratio will increase. That's why number 2 is correct. Why is number 3 wrong? Because they increase the productivity of the stage prior to the bottleneck. We have 3 stages of production. The first stage is pressing, stretching, and rolling. Technically, if pressing the bottleneck, there's nothing prior. They should have said after. Yeah, examiner also sometimes make mistake in writing question if you're specific. But prior means you're not focusing on the bottleneck. When you have a bottleneck, where do you focus? On the bottleneck. You don't focus prior or after the bottleneck. The process that you should focus on is a bottleneck, not the process before the bottleneck, not the process after the bottleneck. Make sense? Yeah. So that's why number 3 is wrong. Got it? Throughput accounting is a favorite topic of the chief examiner, the lady who is the chief examiner. This team of examiner is mostly made up of ladies. Yeah. And the chief is a lady. She loves throughput accounting. I don't know why. Yeah. So throughput, you must be good at it. What your examiner loves, you have to love more than the examiner until after the exam. After that, you can say, I hate it. Yeah. But until that time, you must love it as much as your examiner. So this is one question that always comes up. Not necessarily in section B. It may only be 2 marks in section A, but it will always come up. One question on throughput. Always. Simply because your examiner likes it. That also must know sometimes, unfortunately. Question 14. The throughput return per factory hour for product C has already been calculated as 150. The total annual hours of 700,000 hours paid $10 per hour. So what is the throughput accounting ratio for product C? Throughput return has been given as 150. We also calculated earlier, we got 150, no problem. We also got the same. Okay, so no, nothing new. He's not telling me something that I don't know. He's not being nice to me. I already know this. Yeah. But what he's saying to me is now, until now, we did not take into consideration the cost, isn't it? There is one more cost, don't forget. He's only telling me the labor cost here. He's telling me the total annual hours of 700,000 paid $10 per hour. That is a labor cost. But there is one more cost. There is also factory cost. So you have to merge these 2 costs so that you can get what we were calculating just now, which is what we were saying just now, factory cost per bottleneck hour, which is all costs excluding material. We got to do this calculation. I show you directly. So we don't waste time. There it is. So you take the total labor cost they mentioned to you. They say total labor cost is 70,000 hours. No, 700,000. So say 700,000. Where is it? 700,000 times 10. Okay, so we take 700,000 times 10, 7 million. But you see what the examiner did here? Many students only took this 700,000 times 10, 7 million. That's it. You must remember that although he's giving you this information, this question is in relation to a scenario. You must go back to the scenario. You know from what you have learned, all costs except excluding materials, there are 2 main costs, labor and factory overheads or fixed costs. If you give me labor, where is the factory overhead? So you go back into the scenario, you find other factory costs are all fixed. And total 17,975,000. Now, the other factory costs here, they are fixed, so they don't include labor. You see the labor is here, $15, $10, and $10 per meter. So the labor cost is separate from the other factory costs. So now that you know the total labor cost, you know the total factory cost, you add the 2. So you get a total factory cost of 24,975,000. This is what we call factory cost. Total factory cost. Once you get this, you need to know how many total hours we have in the factory. For pressing, the bottleneck time, it is 225,000 hours of pressing. Remember, you must also do factory cost per bottleneck hour. to get throughput accounting ratio, factory cost per bottleneck hour. We have the total factory cost, which is 24,975. We have the total bottleneck 225. So what is it? It's going to be 111. How do I get the 111? Let's calculate here. Yeah. So factory cost, unless I did it below, there. Factory cost per bottleneck hour, 24,975 divided by 225. There it is. It's 111. The 150 they gave me, plus I calculated myself also 150. So throughput accounting ratio, again, throughput return per bottleneck hour, or sometimes they will say per factory hour, which is 150 for product C, divide by factory cost per bottleneck hour. Factory cost per bottleneck hour for all products is the same. For product A, it is 111. For product B, it is 111. For product C, it is 111 because it's the whole factory. Yeah. So 150 divided by 111 is 1.35. Final answer, 1.35. So in the box here, you will have to type 1.35 in this box, in the exam. Again, once you understand what you're doing, all of this can be done straight away on calculator again. Straight away on calculator. But the steps must be in your head. If the steps are not in your head, that's when you need to start writing on paper because you're actually hesitating. Your knowledge is not good enough. If you know the steps, you will be able to do it straight away on your calculator. So one of the reasons why we have to practice as many questions as possible, because the more familiar you are with it, then the steps are in your head. When the steps are in your head, you just do on your calculator, in your head, it's playing out. Then you move faster. So one of the reasons why sometimes we cannot complete the exam on time is because we haven't had enough practice. When we haven't had enough practice, we know the subject, but to get it ingrained inside the brain, yeah, you have to practice. So yes, some questions will be more difficult, but you know the steps in your head. You can play it out anytime. Yeah, because writing doesn't make it better. Yeah, doesn't necessarily make it better. Sometimes it helps you, yeah, to gather your thoughts, as we say. Yeah. Sometimes it helps, yeah, but it's a bit going to delay you. But if you need to write to gather your thoughts, go ahead, write. I'm not saying don't write. Yeah, I'm not saying. Sometimes it helps to really get the steps into place. Yeah. Any question on this throughput accounting ratio calculation? Yes. Question? Slow down what you're telling me and speak a bit louder. For question 12. Now I understood what you want. So what you want is for question 12, how do we, or the final answer in the Excel? Okay, yes, okay. I think the part you want to know is this part. Yeah, because I think this part is quite easy. Yeah, okay, so basically, this one, you're not going to learn it only for throughput accounting, which is section B of the syllabus. You will also use it for section C of the syllabus, but then for section C, you use it for one limiting factor. In section C of the syllabus, it will be marginal costing. So it will be the same technique. You will then calculate dollar here, marginal contribution per limiting factor. Okay, never mind. Okay. So what happens is there is a shortage, there is a constraint, and the constraint is pressing time. So what you need to find out is what is available. What's the total available for the whole year, which is 225. Now the idea is, since this is limited, you want to allocate this to the products that gives you the highest throughput return for every pressing hour. Because the highest throughput return for every pressing hour will maximize company profit. Make sense now? Okay. That's why we got the ranking. So once we got the ranking, we saw in the ranking, oh, the product that means the highest throughput return is C. So now I give priority to C. That's why I put number 1. I have total 225,000 hours. I will produce C first. I mean, literally and physically, I produce C first. Yeah? Okay. Now, I need to know the next information. What's the maximum I can sell for C? They said maximum demand for each product A, B, and C is 200,000. So, of course, I cannot produce more than the maximum I won't be able to sell. So what I do is I say, okay, C is number 1, produce the maximum that customer is asking. Since customer is asking 200,000 meters, 1 meter use 0.4 hours, I produce 200,000 meters, which will take me 80,000 pressing hours. I have a total of 225,000. I've used 80,000 to make 200,000 meters of C. I'm left with 145. I then move to the second priority. Second priority is A. Again, A has 200,000 meters of demand, but A use 0.5 hours for 1 meter. So I multiply by 0.5 hours. I need 100,000 to produce maximum demand for A. So now I'm left with 45. That's the third one, which is also sometimes a problem for students. So 45 is what I'm left. I've got nothing more than that. The last one, you take all of what you have, which is 45, and then you say B, which is the third one, uses 0.5 hour to make 1 meter. If I have 45,000 hours, I need 0.5 hour to make 1 meter. I divide, I get 90,000 meters. Is that okay now? Yeah. Right. So it's very logical to do it this way. Remember, this is a very important calculation because you have exactly similar calculation for limiting factors that come in section C of the syllabus. So this topic can be tested from 2 areas, from throughput and from limiting factor marginal costing. So question 15 and 16 now. Question 15, FR, let's see, okay, there seems to be a question online. For number 12, the answer is C, or maybe I'm mistaken, huh? Okay, let's see, maybe. Yeah, it's C. Or did I type wrongly? Sorry. For question 12, I typed wrongly. Oh, yes. Yeah. You're not mistaken, you're correct. Yeah, it's very diplomatic. Who is that? Matthew. Matthew, you're very diplomatic. Very good. Thank you. You should tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, Matthew is very respectful. Yeah. Yeah. That is good. Ugandans are like this. Yeah. Very respectful. Yeah. See. Question 14, then question 15. Question 14, the throughput return per factory hour for product C has already been calculated as $150. He's going to tell me the same things that I know. Yeah, no, I've done this one. Sorry. Fram company also makes a 4th product. Product D. Product D has a throughput accounting ratio of less than 1. And the management accountant has stated that under no circumstances should product D be made. So what it means? It means that if throughput accounting ratio is less than 1, it means that the throughput return per bottleneck hour is less than the factory cost per bottleneck hour. Do you agree? Yes. Because throughput accounting ratio is throughput return per bottleneck hour. Again, divide by factory cost per bottleneck hour. The only way it can be less than 1 is that the denominator is higher than the numerator. So the cost is more than the return. Make sense now, huh? Okay. So in other words, the product D is loss-making. Do we agree? That is why this manager, he says, management accountant says that under no circumstances should product B be made. So that means he will not make product D at all. Why? Loss making. Now the question is whether you will agree or not. Which of the following statements regarding ceasing production of D are true? Many of the fixed costs relating to product D may not be avoided even if production is ceased. Okay. Now, remember this factory cost has got labor cost. And this factory cost, as we have seen just now, we have calculated it, has also got this 70 million, which is other factory costs, which are all fixed. So you got fixed, other overheads, fixed overheads. Now, the assumption in throughput accounting, the assumption by ACCA, never mind, let's not say that, because the original did not make that assumption, never mind. The assumption by ACCA examiners is that in throughput accounting, there's only one variable cost, which is material, which means this labor. Although they have said the labor is 10 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, you might say it's variable. But in throughput accounting, for ACCA, you will assume this is also fixed. So in throughput accounting, there's only one variable cost, which is material. Yeah, only one variable cost. Every other cost is assumed to be fixed. Even if under marginal costing, labor is considered variable, under throughput, it's considered fixed. Everybody okay? Don't forget. Yeah? Okay. So since this is the case, that means the whole of this factory cost that we have calculated earlier, the whole of this factory cost, which is 24,975, is now considered to be fixed. Now, logically then, read the answer now. Many of the fixed costs relating to D may not be avoided, even if production is ceased. The best example of a fixed cost in this class has always been factory rent. So in this factory, I'm making product A, I'm making product B, I'm making product C. And now they reveal to me, I'm also making product D. So if I stop making product D, do I close the factory? No, I still make A, B, and C. Do I pay rent? Yeah. Will the rent change? No. So number one is correct. Many of the fixed costs relating to product D, example factory rent, may not be avoided even if D is C. Number one is correct. Clear, yeah? Okay. Because we're going to start eliminating again. The minute number one is correct, C is wrong, D is wrong. We will explain all, not to worry. But for exam, you will do this. So now number two is correct. Because it is appearing, you don't need to read again. Number three, you don't need to read again. So in exam, you only read number four. It may be possible to increase the selling price of product D. And this would increase the throughput accounting ratio. We already said yes to this, did we? Yes, we already said. Number four, apply and increase selling price. Yeah. So yes. So if you increase selling price of D, the throughput accounting ratio may go up and become more than one. I mean, why not? You can try. Of course, maybe demand will drop, but at least the product will have a positive throughput accounting ratio. So why do you want to cease? You try first, you explore the possibilities. That's why the answer is good. It may be possible. They did not say increase only. It may be possible. So what they are, by saying it may be possible, what they're saying to you, explore the possibilities. Yeah. If it's not possible, then we will consider again. But it may be possible. If it's possible to increase, well, increase. So number 4 is correct. So answer is B. In the exam, we are done. In class, we do. Why is number 2 also correct? Demand for other products may be adversely affected by ceasing production of the. What does that mean? Related demand. You're doing ACCA. You do ACCA. You have many subjects to do. You may decide, I come to MAT Abacus because I can do all the papers here. Do you follow? If we tell you, oh, we are not offering half of the papers, you might decide, it doesn't make sense. Then I have to go to 2 different schools. So you may decide, let me go to the school that offer all the papers. So if we stop offering 1 or 2 papers, the compulsory one, maybe the optional, we can decide to offer not all of them. It's okay. But the compulsory papers you have to offer. Otherwise, even like my APM, my APM is a very sad story. It's the most difficult paper. Students hate it. To me, it's the easiest paper to pass. I'm the lecturer. Yeah. But students, it's around the world, not only here. Yeah, the most famous paper is AFM. Yeah, in Uganda, AFM is the most famous. Then the other 2 they don't like because we don't offer UK tax. UK tax is difficult. So then the other one is APM and AAA. So APM and AAA people don't like to do. They don't have many choices. Never mind. As from 2027 September, we'll have 5 choices. 5, but you only do 1. Now you have 4 choices, 4 options. You do 2 currently. Until June 27, it will remain like this. From September 27, we will have 5 option papers at strategic level. You only do 1. Yeah? So it will be good for you. Yeah, you choose the one that you like the most. You don't have to do 2. Okay. Never mind. So if we don't offer APM and AAA, although students don't like them, and we don't have many students, then ACCA will say, hey, it's not complete. And student will say, it's not complete. You understand? So we will lose customers on other products. You understand the concept? So if a customer buys C and D, you understand what I'm saying? You say, no, I'm not selling D. You say, buy C only. You say, no, I don't want to buy from you. I go somewhere else where they sell both C and D. If a customer come and say, I want to buy A, B, and D, you say, you know what, buy A and B, D we don't do. You say, no, you're wasting my time. I go somewhere else where I can buy A, B, and D. This is what they mean. This is what they mean. Yeah, demand for other products may be adversely affected by ceasing production of D, which is correct. In real life, it is correct. Now, why is number 3 wrong? The throughput accounting ratio of D could be improved by increasing the time spent on the bottleneck. Increasing the time that you spend on the bottleneck. In other words, let's go back to our formula. This one. If I increase the bottleneck time, what will happen to the throughput return? I increase the bottleneck time. It will fall. The throughput return will fall. Let me show you in calculation. APM. After that, there will be no APM. I will retire by June 27. It's time for me. So look at it here. So 70 minus 10 is a material cost. This time is 0.4, right? Okay. So what is suggested here is, where is it? Increase the time spent on the bottleneck resource. Of course, I don't have D, so I show you on C. Okay, on C. This becomes 0.5. Okay, I'm increasing the time. What's happening to the throughput return? 120. If it becomes 120, this will become 120. Agree? What happens to the throughput accounting ratio? It drops. Do you want it to drop? No. We want it to increase. That's why it's not the correct answer. We don't accept this answer. Right? So this answer is considered wrong because what they want is throughput accounting ratio could be improved. No, to improve, you must decrease. You must decrease the time spent. Increase is wrong. Because increase is wrong, number 3 is wrong. Understood why number 3 is wrong? Had they said decrease, then it's correct. Are we clear? Yeah, so the answer is B. Question 16. The following statements have been made in relation to the theory of constraints. It is essential. Oh, why is it supposed to have number 1, number 2 here? What happened? Where's my number 1? Never mind. So this is number 1. Eh? Something went wrong here. Number 2. Okay. The first statement, it is essential that labor idle time on non-bottleneck resources is minimized. Is this correct? Yes. Anyone online? Anyone else in class? Number 2. Okay, someone is saying something. Yes? Yes means true, huh? What did you say? Anyone else in class say it's true? Anyone says it's false? It's easy. It's either a boy or a girl. True or false? Nowadays in other countries, it's very difficult. Yeah. Oh yeah, I get confused. Yeah, I get very confused. Even the language I use, you have to be careful. Yeah. You go to UK, in England, you have to be very careful with the language you use. They will tell you you're being difficult. Yeah. So nowadays, I don't want to teach sales. Throughput is maximized by reducing the impact of bottlenecks. True also? Online? Okay, let me see what they're saying online. Okay, Matthew said yes. She said true. Oh, Elder, you're saying not true for the first one, the second one? Okay, she said true for both. Okay. Number 1 is false. It's not true. Read carefully. On non-bottleneck. On non-bottleneck. I mean, it will be good if you minimize the labor idle time on non-bottleneck, if you can save money. But is it essential? The word is essential. That's what makes it. If it says, instead of saying essential, it says it would be preferable that labor idle time on all days minimized, then I would say yes. If they change the word to preferable, it's like optional. You understand? But when they use the word essential, the non-bottleneck is not where you focus. So it's not essential. You understand what I mean? So you're not wrong. It will be good to do this because if you can reduce the cost, if you can reduce labor idle time, factory cost will reduce. So you're correct in that sense. If factory cost is reduced, throughput accounting ratio will increase. So yeah, it is preferable. It will be a good thing. But the problem is, it is not essential. What is essential is that On the bottleneck, you improve the bottleneck. That is essential. So the problem here is the word essential. Yeah, essential is what makes it wrong. I know it can be difficult in this particular case because the examiner is using the language. Yeah, and it's not that you don't know the language. You know the language very well. Is that at that point in time, everything that they have said is correct. Labor idle time or that should be minimized. It's a good thing to minimize. It's preferable because what will that do? Factory costs will fall if you can do that. If labor cost is reduced, factory costs will reduce. If factory cost is reduced, throughput accounting ratio for all products will increase and profit will increase. So is it good to do? Yes. Is it nice to do? Yes. Is it essential? No. Unfortunately, it's a play of words here. Throughput is maximized by reducing the impact of bottlenecks. This is the one we did just now. Or the opposite. If I can reduce, let's say this one just now got number 3, yeah? If I can reduce the impact of the bottleneck on B, in other words, B uses less pressing time. If I can reduce pressing time for product B to 0.4, you notice it will become, ranking will become number 2. Yeah, ranking will become number 2. So what it means is, can you maximize throughput by reducing impact of bottlenecks? Yes, because you're reducing the time that it will take on the bottleneck. That is true. That is true. Yeah. So at this stage, I'll only choose B. Okay. So unfortunately, number 1 is very close to being true, just because of the word essential. Yeah. So sometimes a written question like this, written questions tend to be nicer to do, but sometimes language, you have to be very careful. Yeah, you have to be very careful. The examiner, they are mostly English people, so they know the language very well, and they play with it. Yeah. When I was a student, I used to get caught by this a lot, because obviously my English was very poor at that time. I used to struggle with this language. But those days we don't have multiple choice or objective questions. We don't have long questions. So it was, in that sense, easier. Yeah. So this is your, unfortunately, you can see how long this is taking now. This is taking a long time. Yeah. And we need to do test 2. We need to do test 3, test 4, and the mock exam. So I do believe we will have to pick up the pace from tomorrow. So now that you know what we are doing in the first few classes, maybe if you have some time, work through these questions before you come. That will help you a lot, because as we work through it, you will understand even better. And as usual, like I say, which is a bit controversial, if you work through it and you get it wrong, it's even better. So when you get it wrong, and then you come to class, then you correct your mistakes. When you correct your mistake once, you probably will not make the same mistake again. Sometimes it's nice to get it right the first time, but then sometimes we don't know what other mistakes we could have made. You follow? Yeah? So, but the essential thing, as using the same word, the essential thing here is to give it a try. Yeah? All right, we stop here. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow, and we will start at 6:15 sharp. Have a good night, yes. And let me upload this file. Welcome, Matthew.